I am live. Hello, good evening, everybody. I hope we are live and we are waiting for our special guest today. Yes, we're going to talk about, Precious is going to join me. I think she's here now. Yep, you're here.
Hello. Hello, former
Ah,
producer of
so
life.
you
How are
are,
you?
you're going to be our special guest. Like you're a VIP today. You know that
No
before you do
problem.
people, but today it's me that is going to
You
do
do
you.
me.
I'm going to do you.
You do me. I'm glad. I'm glad to be here. Well done.
All right. So I think we'll start with Nigerian stories. We'll look at what is
Okay.
happening in Nigeria before we dive into Africa, other parts of Africa. We'll touch light
Hmm.
Burkina Faso. We'll touch light Namibia. We'll talk about
Mhm.
Rwanda and what is
Where we
happening
have
in
our first,
DRC
where we have
Congo.
our first female African president.
Yes. Also, the vice president is a woman in Namibia. So in Namibia, you have women ruling them. Vice president
Interesting.
and the president, they are all women. It's a beautiful
I,
thing. I also
it's
hear that the Speaker
it's
of
only
the
one
Assembly is
Beyonce
also a
song that
woman.
is in my mind now. We're on the world, but it's okay.
Girls, you can actually sing that, yeah.
Go
So where
ahead.
do we start from? Let's look at
Anywhere. Anywhere.
all right, we'll start from this Saraki story. Talking
Hmm.
about coalition, Saraki distances herself from fabricated stories, urges supporters to ignore peddled falsehood. So it looks like the wind of coalition is going round from Peter Obi to Atiku to El Rufai. Let's see what is going on there. But let's talk about the Bukola Saraki Media Office has dismissed the content of a story published in a national newspaper in which the reporter reportedly claimed to have spoken to some unnamed associates of the former Senate president. Yes, and reported views he purportedly quoted to have been expressed during a meeting of the PDP's stakeholders in Ilorin, Kwara State. In that statement signed by Yusuf Olayono, Saraki Media Office in Abuja, urged political associates of Saraki and members of the public to disregard the fabrications and jaundiced views. The views get jaundice. It's been long I heard this story.
I
Jaundice
like
views
that.
contained in the story almost condemns the spin and manipulations that the opposition in Kwara State concocted from story by manufacturing quotes alongside graphic designs. So this is about Saraki. The media saying that there is actually a coalition between Saraki. Perhaps who knows who? I wonder if I would be able to dive in further to that story. It's a lot, but quoting them further, they said, would therefore call on well-meaning Nigerians to disregard and ignore the false claims contained either in the story published by the newspaper or the warped version of it being circulated online by elements of opposition in Kwara State. So according to them, this is works of the opposition parties, people who are, against Bukola Saraki as it were. So we'll look at Enugu State lawmaker dumping Labour Party.
Okay,
This
so
story
so
says
before
the
we get
head.
to Enugu State, I'd like to just jump in, chime in a bit on that Sarakis issue.
All right.
I just want to drop a few words. Basically, whenever politicians in Nigeria deny anything, know that there is an atom of truth in that thing. So you know that because it looks to some of them like the coalition thing is still new. They like to give you one. They like to do abracadabra to people, right? So they don't like to be preempted, and whenever they are preempted, they tend to deny it first before eventually everything opens up. So I want to believe that Saraki is definitely going to seek a coalition. One, because he was part of the PDP members that left PDP in 2014 together with Amechi and Atiku Abubakar to APC, and it just didn't
And
work
from
well. They
the
were the
APC.
APDP people, yeah. So, and then he came back fully to PDP, and of course, obviously, he will not be a weekends guy, and they've been having these buzzwords in PDP. So, anybody who's politically interested or who's interested in politics in PDP right now is seeking for refuge in another political party. That's just the thing. So, I'm not surprised about this at all.
All right, so let's still talking about coalition. Let's look at this headline that says "Threat softly, perish your 2027 ambitions." APC National Vice Chairman cautions Atiku and El Rufai. This is still about coalition, and the National Vice Chairman Northwest of All Progressive Congress, Honorable Garuba Dati Mohammed, has cautioned the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the former Governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El Rufai, and is asking them to tread softly ahead of the 2027 general election. Oh, I wonder if I lost her.
All right, go ahead, please. Apologies. I
I
think
was
network went
wondering,
very
I
bad.
lost you there. So this is
Apologies.
still
Apologies.
talking about coalition between El Rufai, Atiku
Yes,
Abubakar,
I was already
and
done
there
with
is
that.
also a rumor about Peter
Mm.
Obi also joining them in their coalition, which is actually not clear. We're not sure of what is going to happen. If Obi is going to remain in Labour Party now that Supreme Court has sacked Abure as the Labour Party chairman, I wonder if, because there is a discussion or stories about him and OT coming together, trying to form a formidable Labour Party. I don't know. Let's see how that pans out. But what's your take? Do you think Obi is going to actually coalesce or form this coalition with Atiku Abubakar and El Rufai? Understanding that El Rufai was in APC and supported the current president during the 2023 election. Remember, he was one of the people who went to Chatham House. He even answered questions on security issues in Nigeria. And a lot of people wondered why he couldn't pass the security screening in the National Assembly when he was appointed for ministerial nomination there. But there are also stories about him and the current National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, having a fallout, and that was actually the reason, allegedly the reason, for him not being able to pass that security screening for the ministerial appointment.
Okay, so as much as Erofai himself is not a saint, I think that his situation for the ministerial and not making a ministerial list is just a case of calling a dog a bad name just to kill it, right? So everyone may want to find him complicit, as it were, with what's happening or what happened in Southern Kaduna during his reign as the governor of the state, and the fact that he had little or nothing to do. He did little or nothing about it, and then again, because of the statements or utterances that came from him during after election and before election, where he made bold claims about ensuring that he works only to ensure that Muslims in the state takes charge of top political positions. So, and anybody in a sane country, in a country where things work, anybody with such character, anybody with such ideology shouldn't get close to public office because it's injurious to public office, because it is not an ideology of unity to be able to, to serve in a public office. But hey, this is Nigeria, so anything goes. I'm really very indifferent about RFI. Because as much as I know he's a fantastic politician, but I think he tilts towards being a bit of too much of an extremist that I do not enjoy. I mean, his contributions and things he said about bandits and importing bandits into the country. That's a past administration importing bandits and all of those. So he's been quite vocal about those things, but he's actually not been able to distance himself from those criminal acts, if I have to call them criminal acts, because that's what they are. When you call machineries from other countries to help you win election in your country. So he's not been able to distance himself from it,
But to
understanding
be
that he's one of the
fair, sorry
benefactors,
to cut you
one of
short,
the benefactors of those.
to be fair with him, he's not the only person in Nigeria. He isn't the only politician that has made such statements. Remember our former president, Muhammadu Buhari, made a lot of inciting statements before he became the president. Remember the 2011 election when he lost to Jonathan? He made a lot of threats about how baboons are going
Baboons
to
and
soak
all
in
that, yes.
blood
So does
and
it,
all of
does,
that.
does it
At
mean
some
that it
point,
is
he
right?
was seen supporting Boko Haram,
It
and
doesn't
he
make
gave
it
the
right. That's
reason
the
for
point.
supporting them. But he became
I
the
still make,
president.
but I still maintain my stand now. That okay. How well was Buhari's presidency?
Was
Was it
it
a
bad?
was it a presidency that united Nigerians? Is he not the one that set the precedence for the nepotism that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken to another level right now? What are we even talking about? Please, let's up next to another conversation.
All right,
There's
all
nothing
right.
to talk about
Let's
here.
still
Because if we
we're
begin
still
to dwell
dwelling
on
on
this,
politics.
we'll dig on too many holes and touch too many people. So let's just let it
Okay,
slide.
fair enough, fair enough. So, what's it dwelling on politics? Valentino Zigo of all the All Progressive Congress in Anambra State. Remember, the Anambra State during the last weekend conducted the APC governorship primaries, and a lot of people were looking forward for Valentine to make that nomination or become the candidate rather of the APC. Seeing that he left Labour Party to the APC, but he couldn't make it. And a lot of Labour Party people or a lot of obedient people are having a laugh. I don't know. I think they're having a fair time making jest of him on social media and all of that. So does it even matter that he left the Labour Party and he didn't make the governorship nomination or he didn't have the governorship primary candidacy in the APC? What is the way forward for him now as per his political career in Anambra State?
Valentine Ozibo is going to court. He's already protesting. He said that he was robbed of the election. So he would go to court. Maybe if he has the blessings of the Godfather, he may probably win through courts in terms of and Amaechi's case may just repeat itself one way or the
Mm,
other in
mm,
Anambra State. So who knows? But then again, that's the kind of not useless politics we play in this country. It's just so funny. Um, Valentine that just joined APC when less than 2-3 months ago was when he joined APC, and you were expecting to get the party ticket. And why did you need to join APC to claim the party ticket? As a matter of fact, is it that you did not or you don't believe in your competence and your capacity based on the impact you think you have made in lives in Anambra State for them to vote you
mm,
to be their governor, that you need to seek the blessings of the Godfather by joining his party for you to, become the governor of Imo State. That shows you that a lot of people who even work with Peter never, shared perhaps same ideology with him if Peter really does have those ideologies. Because it
or
looked like everybody was just there for what they had to gain at that time. So it's sad.
or
This is an eye opener. This should be an eye opener. This and Imaswin, the Ethics and Privileges led committee chairman, and the rest of them, including your Enugu brother that is now living
yeah,
Labour
that
Party.
won their
Exactly.
election through Labour Party. I think that was
Absolutely. So
like a case of a chance. They rode
I
on Peter Obi's
of course it was just
movement and got
it
into
was just the
all
P2B
positions they are in.
tsunami. It was the P2B tsunami that swept all of them. But it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Mm. So, or does it mean that Labour Party in Anambra State doesn't even have a good structure for him to ride on? Have you thought about that?
There
Could
is
that
no
be
way
an
Labour Party won't
excuse?
have. There is no way Labour Party won't have a good structure to ride on. That's impossible. I think that
Yes.
if I have to speak in terms of, I mean, Labour Party even became stronger than PDP in Anambra State at some points.
Right.
Remember that PDP primaries is just today that they managed to get a candidate that nobody bought from after how many weeks?
Yeah, they
Have
didn't
you
have a
forgotten?
candidate for a
Ah,
long time.
so that's it.
So I want us to look at African because here in my channel we talk about Africa. We focus more on African
Absolutely.
stories. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, you're watching us, please kindly subscribe to my channel. You get updates on African stories. I try to share as much as every African countries. I try to cover them as much as possible. But I'd like us to look at Rwanda and the Republic of Congo, DRC Congo, and what is going on there, the crisis in DRC Congo. Paul Kagame of Rwanda has been fingered a lot of times of being one of the principals that sponsors the M23 rebel. Now, let me give you a little breakdown of what is happening in DRC Congo and why Kagame has always been talked about. And besides, you know that the EU he's facing a lot of sanction from the European Union to the America to different bodies are sanctioning Rwanda left, right, and center because of the crisis in DRC Congo. Now, dating it back to 1994, during the Rwandan genocide between the
Genocide.
Hutus and the Tutsis. So Kagame it's a Tutsi, and that part of DRC Congo, the eastern part of DRC Congo, where the M23
It's a key
rebels,
stronghold,
yes,
yes.
and natives or ethnics or ethnics, are where the major minerals from lithium to cobalt to gold to diamonds to all kinds of minerals. We know that DRC Congo is one of the blessed, most richest country in Africa as per mineral resources, if I'm right there. So it looks like a retaliation because they said in 1994, a lot of people, mercenaries from DRC Congo, fought with the Hutsis to attack the Tutsis. That was the major reason for the genocide. So this is looking like a retaliation, like Kagame having a pound, his own pound of flesh back in DRC Congo and trying to cause havoc in this country. They are neighbors, but he's saying that he's siding his ethnic people or his brothers because they are in crisis and there is no way he's going to abandon his brothers. But however, international organizations and the rest of the people from DRC Congo are accusing him that the reason why he is doing this is because of the mineral resources in Congo. He is after the mineral resources in Congo. He wants to take control of the mineral resources in Congo, hobnobbing with the West and still selling it back to the West. What do you think? I mean,
All right, so it's very unfortunate. One thing that makes me the most in all of this is the fact is how Africans join the Western world to destroy ourselves. That's the most embarrassing and shameful thing in this story. We all know what DR Congo has suffered within the last couple of years, and it's so shameful
for
that we
decades,
have an
they've been
African leader
having
for decades. Yes,
crisis for decades. I think
so
almost since their
so
independence, they've been in crisis.
yeah, so it's very shameful that an African leader who has perhaps who has been in power, he's been the only democratically elected president of his country since that genocide till now, and because his people trust on the
Mm.
transformatory
But
or
he's doing
transformations of
well.
this.
He's doing
He's
well
doing
by
well.
his. We can't take that away
So,
from him.
well, no matter how well he is doing, should he also be part of those who would contribute because of his greed or personal vendetta to destroy another country? I mean, if you see what is happening in DR Congo, you shed tears. Lives are ruined. I don't even want to talk about the impact on their environment. It's crazy. At the end of the day, the people who are enjoying this thing in this trouble are the Western world.
Mm.
They're even enjoying more than him. So
But
how
he's
do you
hobnobbing
support?
with them.
How do you
He has
exactly? That's my point. So how do you support a foreigner to destroy your continent, knowing that their own interest is just based on your natural resources? It's very unfortunate. If you want your pound of flesh on the DR Congo, you perhaps just speak that out and declare an ethnic war with
mm.
them. It's
So
an
this is
easier way to go
born.
about
So
it.
you're saying that this is born out of selfishness.
Of course, it's
That's
selfish
it.
interest now. What else? But did you not read it out yourself? It's selfish interest now. What else is
All right.
it? It's
So
selfish interest. And it's unfortunate. You know why? Because it's typical about what's going on in Nigeria in Nigeria now. Let me give you an example of the River State case, where
okay.
a Nyesom Wiki, who happened to be in government before and brought Isiminala Ifobara, is practically destroying democracy in River States because instead of it, since he cannot be third-time governor through Siminala Ifubara, it's better for the military to take over River State
But
than for
it was
Fubara
also, you
to
remember
have
that
the
it was
freedom
also
to be
this
a
same years
governor.
of Wiki that spoke a lot of times. He has spoken about against Godfatherism. At the time he
That
took a
is
swipe at the
that is
current
exactly,
president,
but
how
or
he
the
was
same
the
the
godfather
same way
in
the
Lagos State
same
and
way
has been
it's
the
okay,
godfather in
it's
Lagos State
okay.
and
You
controlling
don't have to
Lagos State.
remind me. You don't have to remind me. Don't worry yourself. Don't give yourself headache. Is he not the same person that said he would never leave malaria for cancer? Where is he
Hmm.
today? Where is
APC.
he? Ah, no,
Hmm.
now. So you know that Wike can say one thing today and do the next thing the next minute. So we all know Wike for who he is and how he can
Hmm.
turn words around. So it's very unfortunate. It's very
Hmm.
unfortunate. So that's the point. So you would rather destroy your people. You rather for your people not to enjoy democracy because of your own selfish interest. That's exactly what Kagame is doing in based on his contribution in DR Congo, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And guess what? Even amongst the Western worlds that are divided, those that are crying are still benefiting from it, or those that are speaking up subtly are still benefiting from it, some one way or the other. The majority of our mineral resources in Africa, where is it going to?
The
Where is it going
West.
to? That's the problem. How much tax do they pay? How much do they buy those mineral resources? And how much do they import them back to us as a refined product? It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that this issue is so annoying that it makes me want to tilt towards what the famous, I've forgotten his name now, South African white politician said that
Malema?
yeah, no, no,
Malema?
no, no, not Malema. A white politician in South Africa. He said that the blacks can never rule themselves. Do you understand? Because it's very unfortunate. That's exactly what is going on. And these are the kind of things that we make people believe. Because it looks like we really don't know how to be in charge and to use power. Because we use it anyhow. A typical example is your president now. You see the way we're using power now. All right. To the next
What's the
one. I don't
present?
want to talk too
Let's
much.
not go there.
I
Let's
don't
still
want to
dwell
talk
a
too much.
little bit
I don't want to talk too much. It's just
in Africa.
go
But now
ahead.
you know that you mentioning Wike. Do you know that there are footages of him in United Kingdom with his assembly members, his pro-assembly members, and they've been in retreat in UK since this week. Since over the weekend, they've been in UK,
So
and
you know that
they
Nigerian
went to
tea.
learn.
You know that
They
we're
went
not
to
the
learn
owner of
some
tea.
legislative rules and laws in UK. And people are wondering, you're on suspension. You are not working. You are not active. There is emergency rule in Rivers State, and you're going to UK, having a full time. We wonder what is going to happen in Rivers State and how all of that is going to pan out.
Promise
But let me still dwell.
that is the kind of embarrassment that we have, that we go through in this country with people you call your leaders. Tell me how many times Joe Biden or any other president outside
Travels
the
out of
world
it.
has spent anything
Oh, you won't
anywhere,
make a
has gone
but
anywhere
now
else.
when you don't mention now, let me bring it down to Pigeon. Now when you don't mention Joe Biden traveling out, do you know that in less than 2 years of President Tinubu's administration, he has traveled out. He has taken foreign trips 39 times in less than 2 years, and
Only
6 times in this year
in
alone.
France. So and this about his seventh time in France. I've been 9 times in France.
How many billion naira is that costing us as a country? Do we even have that resources? This is a government that said they are trying to cut cost of governance, even though they have the most bogus cabinet ever in history of Nigeria. It is really, really alarming, seriously. But let's still keep dwelling in Africa now.
Okay.
Talking
Go
about
ahead.
the French, you know what is going on in the Sahel region, the Sahel sister states, Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Niger,
Yeah.
trying to expel the French out of their countries. But it looks like in Nigeria, we're bringing them, welcoming them back into our country. But there is something Namibia did recently. The new president of Namibia, in the past years before she came in, Americans, UK, because by the way, Germany colonized Namibia before now. German citizens get free visa to Namibia. US citizens get free visa to Namibia. Same with other European countries. There are about 500 numbers of miners that are from US in Namibia mining without paying taxes, without getting visa. So what this woman did when she came in is giving retaliatory policy. If you don't give us visa, if Namibia does not get free visa to your country, you are not going to get free visa. So she cuts off all of those things from US. Now there are more than 500 US citizens stranded in Namibia and they had to go back mining. So I wonder why we as Africans we are not able to mine our resources ourselves. What does it take us to have a gold plant like what Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso has done? He has developed and built a gold processing plant in Burkina Faso. They are mining their gold themselves. Why do we, even in Nigeria, I'm not sure we have a gold mining plant in Nigeria. Why do African leaders have to sell their mineral resources, raw resources back to the Western countries for them to go and mine? Why can we not harness our resources ourselves? What is going on with African leaders in terms of infrastructural development and proper leadership?
Okay, so I promise if I have to chime in on this conversation, I'd like to say that first of all, this shows the level of intellectual capacity of the kind of people that we vote into government in Africa, and the fact that it's as if they're bereft of ideas, they're bereft of things to do to move their region forward. What you're saying, in fact, talking about gold processing companies and factories and all that is even a long process. Something that is as little as storage companies for food storage facilities, like dry food storage facility, fresh food storage facility, such that things like yam, you can store yam for 2 years and it won't go bad. You can store grains for years, it won't go bad. Dry grains. You can also store things like tomatoes, mangoes will never go off season. Because in so many countries in the Western world, most of those fruits you call seasonal fruits are no longer seasonal. You can access them across the season, not
Because they
because they
have a
grow across the
proper
season.
storage system.
God bless you. Not because they grow across all seasons, but because there is a proper storage system. As in, technology has got, has passed that level. But something as little as that, your government would not invest in. But we have been borrowing money. Do you know that, bringing it back to Nigeria, in Nigeria alone, during this Tinubu's administration, we borrowed over 55 trillion naira. What exactly did we do with 55 trillion naira? What have we done with it? We have not done anything impactful, just like you said.
And we're
Where are
not
the
even talking
factories?
about the money being saved out of subsidy removal. I wonder where that
Where
is
are the,
going into,
that's the matter
aside
for
the
another day.
CNG
Where, in fact,
buses we
some of
have.
the borrowings, King Jume was live on air on Arise Television yesterday. It's alarming to know that some of the flimsy reasons why they borrowed money, you would scream. Flimsy reasons why they borrowed money. And I blame the World Bank. You see, this Western-led World Bank, I blame them because it's not like they do not know that these people are using this money for something else, but they are giving them to keep our country in poverty.
So, do you think it's a way of having control over your country? When they lend you this money, they will tell you how to run your country and tell you
Because
what
they
to
have to,
do.
are they not the ones that told him to remove subsidy? Are
Subsidy.
they not the ones that they were telling Buhari since to remove subsidy, to float the naira, to remove all forms of subsidy, including all energy subsidy and all that, to float the naira and all that? Were they
But
not
we
the ones
know
that
that
advised
even
them?
in America, do you know that in America, agricultural products are being subsidized? Every
And
country has subsidy, one subsidy
promise
or
you
the
exactly.
other, to manage their economy.
I was going to say that not just in the US, most countries in the world have things they subsidize for their people. Now, people will tell you the argument that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, Nigeria has always subsidized education, for instance, because I mean, if you get to look at how much you would have paid for tertiary institution and you compare it to how much you're paying, is subsidized. But what's the quality of education you're getting in Nigeria at the subsidized rates? And did you know that since the inception of this administration, it's not so subsidized anymore because their tuition fees have also increased? That's also a different ballgame altogether. So what do you do? So taking it back to what Namibia is doing, that's when a leader understand the fact that their people needs to have respect. Because just like respect is earned. You will not let other countries treat your people like something else, like what Donald Trump used to call African countries. And then you treat them
We don't
with
want to mention that
we
word.
don't want to mention that. Do you understand? And then you treat them with high hands like gods, but they rubbish you. So what she did was to ensure that she gives her country back that respect that they're deserving. And truth be told, she hasn't done anything bad. Because how do you not give my people visa to your country, but you're in my country mining? Hello? But can Tinubu do that? They can't. That's the thing. Saudi Arabia has stopped some other kinds of visa, business visa, I think the Umrah visa, family visa, they stopped those. And guess the visa that did not stop? Hajj visa. Why? Because they know how much you bring in when we come for Hajj. It's so funny. And what has the president said? Nothing. So that means we cannot go to Saudi Arabia to do business, but we can go there to worship God and come back. And what is the value of worshiping God?
So now that you spoke about America and all of that, do you know that, I wonder why this is not making wave in Nigeria? Trump slammed high tariffs on lots of African countries. Nigeria is in the
Including
shade.
Nigeria.
But we
Including
haven't
Nigeria.
said anything, or the government has not said anything about it.
What would they say?
Today, I saw a video of the Prime Minister of Singapore making a press statement to his people, explaining the high tariff that Trump slammed on them
Oh,
and
some
how it's
countries are
going
already
to
retaliating. I
affect
hope you
them.
know. Some countries
What?
are retaliating. You know, right?
Yes, of course, of course. Canada is retaliating. China is also retaliating. A lot of countries, but African leaders has not even said anything.
Oh,
That's
because
why
they're
they're looking
beggars.
for ways to send
Because
emissaries to go beg.
because they are beggars, and because all of them have one skeleton or the other in their cupboard. Is it not in
Are
the same
African
US where they go
leaders
to
that
where they
terrorists?
siphon our monies to and send it there? They know that Donald Trump knows, and he'll fish them out and tell
Mm,
them that they would have to, relinquish what they have stolen. So they know
mm.
that he knows. You know that Donald Trump doesn't have anything to lose. He doesn't have anything to lose. So because they know that he doesn't have anything to lose, they're all wary of him. They're all careful with him.
Like your
It's
president.
unfortunate.
Are you saying our president is careful of Donald Trump?
If he's not careful, let him retaliate the tariff.
Mm.
Let him retaliate. I mean, Nigeria is giant enough because Nigeria has the markets because of our population. So let him retaliate. Did you see the effect of that in our naira today only?
Right.
Within one day, our naira went
1,600 and something
immediately
naira.
something. So that's it. If your people are already feeling the impact, why shouldn't you retaliate if you're a president that you don't have anything, you don't have a skeleton in the cupboard? It's rather unfortunate.
So, brother, we're bringing French. We're having a memorandum, signing a memorandum with French. People
I
are of the
was
opinion that
I was
if you
going to
want to
go
sign
there.
a memorandum with countries that knows how to mine, you talk of Australia. French does not have any mining factory. They have no common policy about mining, but you're hobnobbing with French. So it looks like the Sahel states are sending French away. You're bringing them back into your
I
country,
mean, I
trying
mean,
to
if the
come in
Sahel states are
collaboration
sending
with
them
them.
away, if the Sahel states are sending them away, and the US will not bring us close the way we want,
Mm.
why
So,
should we not
so the
also,
option we'll have is French, France
have
rather.
So what are you saying? And that tells you the depth of knowledge of the kind of people that we put into power. So at the
Mm.
end of the day, it's not about I am a master strategist. What is the impact of your strategy to the people that you rule or lead at the time you're leading? Not after you have left. You tell me it's your blueprint that made the roadmap. No. At the time you're leading, what's the impact of your leadership? The direct impact on your people? That's
Mm.
the question. It's unfortunate, promise. It's unfortunate. So, the Rwandan president, I'm very proud of her, and I'm sorry, Namibian president.
Namibia.
I'm very proud of her. She's doing an
So what
excellent
what do
job.
you have to say? I know you love Traoré, Ibrahim Traoré. I know you love him so much because of what he does in fact everybody loves Traoré. I don't when you go to the internet, it's all over the internet. They're talking about him, his policies, what he has been doing in Burkina Faso. They have a tomatoes processing plant of their own. They have a gold mining plant of their own. He's building roads, schools, infrastructural development. Do you know that he reduced politicians' salary in Burkina Faso by 50%? He slashed his minister's salary, his cabinet salary by 50% and increased that of civil servants. But here we're paying civil servants 70,000 naira. I don't
And,
even
and,
want
and
to
I
talk
bet you,
about
and I bet you, those politicians would never like Traore. Now, speaking about Traore, did you hear what he said?
he doesn't even take presidential salary of him for himself. He takes a salary as a military officer, as a captain, and that is why he likes them to refer to him as Captain Ibrahim Traore. He doesn't like people to refer to him as President Ibrahim Traore because he doesn't have any of those
Pecs,
qualities or what do I say benefits
pecs of
of a
office.
president. He doesn't want it. Why do we not have such leaders in Nigeria?
In
I
Nigeria,
wonder when we are going to
the
have
same
such
people that you buy
because
160
people
million
don't
naira
even
for
care if
your.
it's military rule or not. What they want is dividend of democracy or dividend of good governance, whether it's from military or from democracy. They don't care at this point.
So all the politicians you have in Nigeria are very selfish. I mean, you saw Elisha Abo complaining that the Senate president did not give him back the car, that's on an official car that they
And he
gave to
gave
him while he was
he
a
gave others
senator,
except him.
and he gave orders. So that is what they do with our money. You understand? You also heard the same thing Natasha said, that in the committee she was leading or heading, that when they give them money at the month and they don't utilize it that month, that the secretary or clerk will expect that they share it because she says that's the tradition. And she says, no, let's keep it until we have a purpose for it. But immediately she left that committee, the money vanished from that account. So basically, we have people who join politics for the purpose of sharing money. Else, tell me, all your politicians, what's their source of wealth? What is it? There is none of them that do not have
Politics.
houses abroad.
Mm.
From your Shimole's, I was trying to dig up on some of Shimole's properties in the US and all that.
You mean
None of
Oshimole, who
them.
was a comrade, who
Oh
was a
no,
labor leader?
none of them with have very good high properties abroad. They do have properties abroad. Do you understand? Now, with all this, how did they make the money? Akpabio, who was his father? What is his rise to fame? How did he make
We
money?
know his mom was a single mother that took care of
Yes,
him.
yes, exactly. Yes, Wiki, how did he make money? That he had money to buy ticket for all the people, all the politicians in River State.
And we don't know
How
where
did he
that
make
money
his
came
money?
from. We do not know where that money came from.
Bless you. God bless you. So that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. And we don't ask them questions. In fact, to have leaders in Nigeria that expect for us to worship them, we must not expect. We must worship them and bow down before them because they're leading us. Meanwhile, they forget that leadership is an act of service. They're supposed
To
to be
the
serving us.
people. To
They're
the
supposed to be
people.
serving us. They are answerable to us. But no, they are not in Nigeria. They are serving their pockets in Nigeria. That's what they do. So most African politicians will not like Traoré. They'll pray for Traoré not to get close to them. But has he
And
impacted on his people? That's the question. You can see the impact because true
is,
leadership is about
is.
impact. Is about impact on the people that you are leading. And
And
that's what
he made a
matters.
statement 2 days ago, a couple of days ago. He said that there is nowhere in Africa you will see true leadership and democracy because it looks like people are not being able to be held accountable with democratic system of government. I wonder where that leaves us. I don't know if in Africa, I wonder if, because some people are of the opinion that why not reintroduce capital punishment that China has in Africa, let's say in Nigeria, if that is going to make our politicians better or avoid or curb corruption, very minimal in Nigeria, where if someone embezzles money, it is capital punishment. You don't have
Oh,
to
they
go
would
through
not now.
judicial
Is it not
process
one of the
and get
senators?
cleared by the
Is it not one of the
EFCC.
senators in Dume that told you that no, that people who steal millions and billions, you cannot accuse them stealing a lot of money. No, now you can't hold them for capital punishment. The one that is called stealing is when you steal like trillions. Because when they
When
steal
it's
millions
heavy,
and
when
billions, they
you heavy
share it
for
with the poor
you heavy
people.
them, you heavy for their gang.
They share it with poor people. Oh, promise. Let's move on and wrap
I'm
up with
tired.
this.
I'm tired. See, Nigeria matter, eh?
Speaking about
Nigeria matter go give
speaking
me
about
headache.
African politics,
Sometimes.
it's sad.
But seriously, we really need to protect our mental health in Nigeria because it gets worse by the day. Sometimes you talk and you get tired of talking about the government and poor leadership. It looks like every day, each coming day, it gets worse. Things get, turn out to the worst. But I hope God help us. At this point, it looks like it's not
No,
even
no,
help
no,
us in
God will not help you. My dear sister, and honorable of the bank.
Nigeria.
God will not help you. You will help yourself.
I think it's time we
Nigerians
take
will
it to
help
God.
themselves
Although people have been
when they are
praying for
ready.
years and
They will.
nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. Churches pray every day in vigils, Sundays, every day you see people pray, hoping for miracle. Nothing happens in Nigeria. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for your
Thank you for having
contribution
me.
on
Thank
247
you.
Africa. We hope for more collaboration in future. I hope we'll be able to collaborate more in
I hope
future.
I hope we do too.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. See
Thank
you.
you. Take care. Bye. See you. Bye.